As I unlocked the doors to the Costa coffee where I worked, a chill ran down my spine, and it had nothing to do with the frigid air conditioning. The cafe, usually buzzing with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the murmur of customers, felt eerily different that night. The soft hum of the espresso machine seemed unnaturally loud as I entered. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. My footsteps echoed through the empty tables and chairs, the dim overhead lights casting long, foreboding shadows. It was the usual routine, making sure the espresso machine was primed and ready, arranging the pastries and checking the inventory. But with each passing minute, my anxiety grew. The cafe, once a haven of warmth and comfort, now felt like a labyrinth of uncertainty. As I glanced out the window, I noticed an unsettling fog had rolled in, shrouding the street in a thick, impenetrable mist. It was as if the cafe had been isolated from the world, cut off from all signs of life. The first customer entered, a man in a tattered coat. His face was hidden beneath the hood, and he didn't respond to my cheerful greeting. He just stared at me with unnerving intensity, making my skin crawl. His order was simple, a black coffee. But when I handed it to him, his fingers brushed mine, sending a shiver down my spine. Throughout the night, more customers trickled in, each one more unsettling than the last. A woman in a blood-red dress whispered in hushed tones to no one in particular, while a group of teenagers in the corner booth laughed maniacally, their laughter echoing through the cafe. With every hour that passed, the cafe's atmosphere grew heavier, the walls seeming to close in on me. The soft jazz music in the background had transformed into an eerie symphony of dissonance. I could feel eyes on me from every direction, but whenever I turned, there was no one there. As the night wore on, the encounters became increasingly bizarre. Plates and cups moved of their own accord, and I could swear I heard faint, ghostly whispers in the air. The cafe's layout had shifted subtly, tables and chairs rearranging themselves in strange patterns. I couldn't take it any longer. My fear had reached its peak, and I knew I had to leave. But as I made my way to the exit, the entrance door slammed shut with a deafening crash. I turned, my heart pounding, only to see the tattered coat man blocking my path. His hood fell back, revealing a face devoid of expression, as if carved from stone. In his hand, he held a coffee cup, but it wasn't filled with coffee. It was filled with darkness. As the inky blackness spilled from the cup, it swallowed me whole, and I was plunged into an abyss of terror. The cafe, my sanctuary, had become a nightmare, and I was trapped within its chilling embrace. And that, my friend, is the tale of the night I will never forget. The night when Costa Coffee turned from a place of comfort into a realm of unspeakable horror, all without a single paranormal phenomenon in sight. The abyss was a never-ending void of darkness, and I could feel it seeping into my very soul. Panic clawed at me as I struggled to find a way out, but there was no escape from this eerie nightmare. The cafe's layout continued to shift and change around me, like a twisted maze designed to keep me trapped. The walls closed in, the ceiling lowered, and the floor seemed to shift beneath my feet. Every step I took led me deeper into this malevolent place. I could still hear the faint whispers, now growing louder and more menacing. They echoed through the darkness, taunting me, revealing secrets I never wanted to know. It was as if the very essence of the cafe had turned against me, and it reveled in my fear. I stumbled upon a familiar corner, but it was distorted, twisted into a nightmarish version of itself. The group of teenagers from earlier were there, their laughter now a cacophony of madness. They pointed at me, their eyes devoid of humanity, and I knew I had to escape their gaze. I turned and ran, blindly searching for an exit, but the cafe seemed to stretch on forever. My heart raced, and I could feel the darkness closing in, suffocating me. The fog outside had seeped in, obscuring any hope of rescue. Finally, in a moment of desperation, I burst through a door, hoping against hope that it would lead me to safety. Instead, I found myself in a storage room, its shelves lined with bags of coffee beans. But even here, the atmosphere was thick with dread. Then I saw it, a faint glimmer of light. It was coming from a small window at the far end of the room. With renewed determination, I rushed toward it, praying that it would be my way out of this nightmare. As I reached the window, I pushed it open and was met with a blast of cold, fresh air. The fog had lifted, and I could see the dimly lit streets outside. It was my chance to escape. I climbed through the window, not looking back, and ran as fast as my trembling legs could carry me. Behind me, I could still hear the haunting whispers and the eerie laughter, but they grew fainter with every step. The cafe was disappearing into the night, becoming a distant, haunting memory. I never returned to work at that Costa coffee, and I never spoke of that night to anyone. The horrors I had experienced were beyond explanation, beyond reason. It was a place where the line between reality and nightmare blurred, where the everyday became a terrifying ordeal. So, beware the Costa coffee that stands on that corner, for within its walls, a darkness lurks, a darkness that can turn a familiar, comforting place into a realm of unspeakable horror, all without a single paranormal phenomenon in sight.